Hello and welcome back to another video from Average FPL. We're going to preview game week 20, how my team looks, potential moves for the game week, and captaincy options as well. So first of all, it's really important to know that it is a 1:30 deadline on a Tuesday. Um, really unique, quick deadlines over Christmas at the moment, and this one's no different. And so just be aware of that as well. I know people in my mini leagues were missing deadlines for the most recent game week, and I think if you can just be prepared, then it not only makes you feel better about your team, but you keep that engagement a bit longer as well. And that's what we want to do. We want to try and see the season all the way through. So yeah, a couple of games that have been called off already. I've got Smith Rowe that's not playing. Um, but other than that, my team looks okay, apart from everybody seeming to play away this week, apart from Mason Mount. I think I'm doing all right. Uh, Also, a thing that I was thinking about as well going into this game week, especially with fixtures getting postponed and the game week being spread out over 3 days, if you can help it, you don't really want players playing on the Thursday. I've got no big hitters playing on the Thursday. And it's not that I'm saying you should transfer them out if you've got them in, but really the disadvantage is that the deadline is Tuesday lunchtime. And if your players that play for like Man United say aren't playing until Thursday evening, that's essentially 2.5 days um, for that game to get called off. And although that might not be likely, it's happening. So it is something you've got to take into account if you're bringing in, a Man United player. I wouldn't transfer those players out. But also, if I was looking at a player and he had a game 2 days after the deadline, at the moment, I'd be really cautious about getting them in via transfer. So yeah, that's something to take into account. Uh, so yeah, happy with my team. As long as players like Jesus start, that's a lot of money that's not playing consistently at the moment. And yeah, I knew that when I was getting Man City players in. Um, but it's still frustrating, isn't it? You still want your players to play. So yeah, I'm looking at captaining Kane. I think he's going to start scoring. I think he's the sort of player who will score 2 or 3 goals in the next 2 game weeks. And then Salah goes to Africa Cup of Nations, and everyone suddenly realises that Kane is low owned and he scores 20 goals a season. And yeah, he's been out of form, but his fixtures look good. Spurs have games in hand as well, so they're going to have double game weeks coming up. So I think Kane and Son are good players to own at the moment. I think if you get on them now, you're ahead of the curve in that sense. Um, at least that's what I think, and that I'm following that through by getting them in and captaining them myself. Uh, so yeah, other than that, I would really, you could captain a Man City player, but like we said previously, you know, who would you captain relying on them actually starting? And other than that, now that Arsenal aren't playing, I think you could maybe captain a Chelsea attacker. Lukaku came back and contributed in the last game week, so you might be tempted if you own him. I'd captain him. It might be a little bit too early to transfer him in, but that depends on how brave you're feeling, I guess. I have one free transfer as well I could use, and I've got 0.8 million in the bank as well. So I think that's something to consider. I'm really thinking maybe looking at my team, as long as no games are called off, um, I've roll in a transfer, just giving myself more flexibility. I've I rode out a tough game week last game week, having lots of players off and still managed to get a small green arrow. So compared to that game week, this one's looking absolutely brilliant. The players that I've got playing on Thursday are just Loughton and Manquillo, so they're hardly going to be big hitters anyway. Um, you're really looking at 1 or 2 points from each of them. So if those games are cancelled, it would probably benefit me from players having people like Ronaldo in the team not playing than it would do if the game actually went ahead at this stage. But that's maybe not the best view of thinking of those game weeks. Obviously, you want as many games to be on as possible. So yeah, let me know what you think about my team, where I can go from here. If you've got any questions or bits of advice you wanna ask as well, feel free to do so. I'll try and get back to you. And yeah, good luck in the game week. Hopefully, you're persevering with the game weeks and the fixture postponements. And remember, just because these fixtures are cancelled, it might be frustrating now, but they will be made up for in the future, and that in itself will provide lots of interesting and exciting game weeks and potential going forward in the future. And when that happens, you want to still be engaged in the game. You don't want to be put off by fixture cancellations and your team doing not as well as you'd hoped at the moment now. So stick with it, and persevere. And yeah, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.